If you're looking to take your home or business to the next level, then RM Contractors and Custom Drywall can assist you. RM specializes in new residential turnkey, new commercial turnkey, home and office remodeling. Call them for free estimates. Serving all of South Florida, licensed and insured. Call Ray or Mike, 305-345-3649. You work hard to create the perfect atmosphere. You dream it, we'll build it. RM Contractors and Custom Drywall, 305-345-3649 or Instagram at RMC Fisher Island.
There's just one place to get our lowest payment on the new 2024 Acura ZDX, $299 a month. It's the Season of Performance event at Acura of Pembroke Pines, #1 in the USA.
Hi, this is Jeff Welt from Welt and Rayom. Dan and I have been in business together for over 22 years. We're not your typical lawyers. When Dan's not working in the office, he's flying his stunt plane. When I'm not in the office, I'm either getting tattooed, bowling, riding a motorcycle, or going to concerts. We might not be your typical attorneys, but we are aggressive attorneys, and we'll do whatever it takes to get you what you deserve. Consultations are always free. Call us anytime, 24/7.
Welt and Rayom can help.
We are live. It is the AEW Dynamite recap show here on the Stanley Media House Network and on Squared Circle Digest. I got to tell you, man, it was a very, very good AEW Dynamite tonight. It started off with a bang with MJF and Hangman Adam Page coming out, and I don't know that it really dropped off a lot. It might have dropped off a little bit here and there, but overall, this Dynamite was very good coming off of, the AEW Grand Slam. And, they had a lot of great matches. As I said, it opened up with MJF and Hangman Adam Page. And, it's very interesting because both of these guys kind of resemble each other, maybe in different ways, as both of them are evil. Both of them feel like they don't do wrong. They're just seen as everybody sees them as doing wrong, but they're not really doing wrong. And that's kind of where I feel like they were going with this. MJF's like, you sit there and you do all these evil things. You burn down people's houses. You stick syringes in people, you do all this, and everybody's cheering them. And then, Hangman says, you do the same thing. The only thing you don't get is the admiration of the crowd. And MJF says he doesn't need the admiration from the crowd. And I love the fact that they went through the history of really Hangman and MJF. This is one of the things that I felt like sometimes AEW drops the ball on, as far as just assuming that everybody understands the history. Again, I get it. It's only 6 years or 5 years old or whatever it is, going on 6 now. But a lot of people that are watching now may not have tuned in for the first few years. And I love the fact that he went back through and, explained everything on the Dynamite Diamond Ring, the first one, and things like that, where, again, it added also a little bit of personal animosity in this feud. I just love the fact that they are building this up. And the one thing he asked Hangman Page, he says, "Tell me one thing you're better at than me." And Hangman looked at him and said, "I am real." And then they go into the whole thing when the whole spit part of it reminded me of the VKM Bret Hart, the Montreal Screwjob, when MJF spit and you could just see the spit sitting on Hangman Page's eyelid, like, eyebrow right there, as the camera was kind of zoomed in on that. And then ultimately, Hangman snaps, starts going after him. Of course, they had the stipulation where if they touched, it would be a fine or suspension. Hangman does not get a hold of him. He gets a hold of security guards and starts beating them up, then goes to swing, and it's Christopher Daniels. And then Christopher Daniels looks at him and says, "Hold on a minute, let me see this." He says, "I know who you are. You know who you are." And it, again, this is where I feel like this whole Hangman part of this is he lost himself in this whole, AEW world, right? When he came in, he was a chosen one. He was part of the elite. He was going to win the title. You saw him kind of gearing that up. Took a couple, detours, gave it to a couple others. Ultimately, he wins the belt. And then, of course, you had the thing with him and CM Punk. And then he kind of fell off a little bit. You had him with the Dark Order. You had him doing some things in the back. And then, he kind of lost himself. And then you had the whole Swerve, him losing to Swerve. Then he kind of cracks. And now you're seeing it, play back out where now, it's Team Cowboy shit versus Team Scumbag. What team are you on? And we'll find out at Revolution on March 9th. So it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see how this builds up because they took it to that level of, personal tonight. So we'll see where they go from there. You had the Patriarchy versus Ops. And again, this has been going on forever. Joe Shibata and Hook were just chopping the shit out of Nick Wayne in the corner. His chest was probably beat red. Ultimately, Hook locks in his finisher. Christian Cage looks like he's going to come in to save him. And, of course, Samoa Joe's there waiting for him. Christian kind of backs out. Nick Wayne taps out. My question that I posed was, is this their way of ending this, or does it not end until Samoa Joe gets a hold of Christian Cage? I'm very interested to see where this leads as far as the program, because we've watched it with Hook when Samoa Joe was out doing his TV. Shibata was injured, and now you're watching it. I don't want it to play out again in a way. I want this to be over, and let's move on. If you want it to be Joe and Christian Cage, and that's kind of the way you want to go, that's fine. But I'm done with the Hook Shibata part of this. I've seen it, and it's been going on, feels like forever. And for me, it's time to turn that page and see what's next for everybody involved in this, because it almost got out of the, you almost forgot already about the whole thing, whereas the Patriarchy is the one that ended up attacking Taz. And that's not even talked about anymore, that's kind of been thrown to the side. The next thing up was Chris Jericho, again, having a promo in the back. Bandito, he challenges Bandito for Collision. And on TNT and on the broadcast, they put in that little sound that they do when you curse. So I thought he said Chris effing Jericho. Somebody on Blue Sky or X, can't remember which one it was, but came back and said he said Funkin', like Terry Funk, Funkin' Jericho. So again, I don't know what was 100% said. Maybe he said funkin' just because in case it got through, but they did beep it. So I thought he reinvented himself again during the interview. During the promo, I thought there was another Chris effing Jericho is in the building instead of Nueve. But man, the next match was Hobbs and Big Bill. So happy to see them get a good amount of TV time on Dynamite tonight. The plunder was everywhere. There was tables, chairs, a wrench, bricks, barbed wire, steps, a bad apple. Brian Keith was out there as well. They used everything, and both men told a good story. They used the weapons to tell a story, and that match to me was very good that they told the whole story. The wrench busted Hobbs open, then Big Bill's busted open with the bricks, which is the first thing that started this whole thing. Big Bill with the bricks nailing Powerhouse Hobbs. So as you watched it unfold, I felt like they told a great story. And just the fact that Big Bill and Hobbs on Dynamite, I wish they weren't versing each other, but listen, I'm just happy that they got a good amount of time in. And then the next thing that happened on Dynamite was, my God, it was glorious. Toni Storm comes out and cuts this promo, and she's like, she goes into a whole bunch of words for herself. The one that caught me was she's like a tramp, and then I was like, well, the tramp is champ. Let's make those shirts for Timeless Toni Storm. I mean, you got the tramp is champ. You know, she went into this whole thing about how, you know, the best things come in small packages. And then this is the wording, and I had to screenshot this because I want to make sure I got it. Mariah, I beat you with my small package. They say the best things come in small packages, but darling, you should have worn protection because I railed you with the biggest package there's ever been. I mean, it was just glorious. The whole promo. She's leaving it open. She said she'll take on Willow. She'll take on Sheeta. She'll take on Wendy Richter. I'm still waiting for the Wendy Richter on AEW to go against Toni Storm. I'm telling you now, I'm waiting for the day that Wendy Richter is on AEW and goes against, and maybe she doesn't go against Toni Storm, but my God, man, that was just glorious. And the way that Toni Storm, that promo, just magnificent. If you don't get a chance, I think it's only about 2 minutes long. I'm sure it'll be out. If you get a chance, check it out on X, Blue Sky, Instagram, whatever it is you're following. Go to AEW. I'm sure they're going to post this, man, because it is without a doubt going to get some views. Then Gabe Kidd is going to be on AEW Collision this week. That was a cool little package to see. The Death Riders come out. Of course, you've got Claudio and Wheeler Yuta. They're wearing their new merch shirts. Got the Death Riders written on the bottom, the white T-shirts. Moxley says, do you know who I am? I'm the world champ. You know, says if Cope, you know, makes it to Revolution, then he's going to end him there. He said Cope wasn't in the building tonight. Jay White's music hits. Jay White comes out. As Jay White's walking out the entrance, Pac is slowly walking out behind him. So it's like the Death Riders are in the ring. Jay White's on the ramp. Pac's right behind him. And then Cope's music hits, and Cope just comes in cleaning house. And they end up running off everybody. They hit the, you know, Jay White hits his finish on Pac. Then they do the Jay White finish into the spear, which was a pretty cool little thing there that they've been doing now recently. And then Cope says, these aren't your people, they're my people. And then he tells them, I'm going to take out your goon squad, one by one. So at Revolution, it'll be one-on-one, and I'll whoop your ass. And again, now they're setting up for Revolution. And to me, and I agree with what I was seeing a lot on, this is really the first time where Mox is the champion and the focus is on one person, Cope. The last time it was on 3 other individuals and Moxley. I feel like this feud now at least has the focus on just Moxley and Cope. And it's allowing for a more focused main event at Revolution. So it's going to be very interesting. Again, they've got a couple weeks to go. March 9th, I believe, is the pay-per-view. So, again, they've got time to keep this going, and it'll be very interesting, and also time to muck it up a little bit if that's the way, it goes. But lately, man, to me, the Dynamites have been hitting, man. The Dynamites have been hitting. Has there been some misses on some of them? Yes. But overall, each one has gotten better. Overall, the product seems to be getting a lot better. And the venue tonight, by the way, saw a picture online. Tremendous venue for pro wrestling. The way it's like almost like an old orchestra type thing where everything is just pointing toward one focal point where the ring was. That's awesome. Ricochet comes out. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Mercedes Moné promo was up, and she said there's a price to pay when you mess with Moné. And then Momo Watanabe is now going to be her next opponent at Revolution for the TVS title, as she won the what was that? Was that at Forbidden Door? What was that? No, I think it was at one of the NJPW shows. They did the one where it was AEW versus NJPW versus CMLL versus, I believe, AAA maybe. And she won that. So she has the right to verse anybody from any company. And she chose Mercedes Moné. So we'll see where that leads. And again, I appreciate everybody that's tuned in on X, on Twitch, on Facebook, Stanley Media House. If you're on X, it's Stanley Media _11. And please jump over to the YouTube page, Stanley Media House Network. Hit that subscribe button. Please set the notifications. Appreciate you. We will be adding the sports talk in the second half of the NBA season. And also we have Talking Racing Now coming your way. Myself and a special co-host that I've been talking with, which I will be unveiling, but those will be starting with Atlanta this week. The production didn't go the way I wanted it to go for the ones for Daytona, so we will get Atlanta underway this week. NASCAR, some talk there. But right now, it is the wrestling talk. Megan Bayne and Chris Statlander went one-on-one tonight, and let me tell you something, man. Megan Bayne, she looks the part, and this was a perfect matchup for her and Chris Statlander to show what they can do. And Megan Bayne, to me, at least the confidence that she shows, she knows she has the looks, she knows she has the goods, and you see that come across in the delivery of her, the moveset, the way she just takes over, the presence in the ring, all of that. And Chris Statlander, very, very good. I did not like the ending, though. I did not like the Penelope Ford coming out and pushing Statlander off the F5, then Penelope Ford jumping on Statlander as, Megan Bayne just kind of stood there. And then Thunder Rosa hits the ring with a chair. And they just stood there. Like one of two things to me has to happen in that instance. Either powder, meaning Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford need to leave the ring, or Thunder Rosa needs to come in, swinging that chair, trying to take people's heads off. Why else are you running to the ring with a chair? And then they're pulling the chair away from her? You made Thunder Rosa look weak, to me. Again, this is all my opinion. You made Thunder Rosa looked very weak in that instance, and I just didn't think it was a good showing there to see how this goes from there. But I did not like that ending. But the match itself, fantastic. Ricochet comes out, his in-ring promo stuff, and again, I don't know if it's because, again, in WWE, he didn't talk a whole lot. He talked, and it was one-liners, and it was little things here and there. But I feel like his promos are starting to grow on me, especially now with the Swerve feud going on, because they've got substance now. It's not just him talking about, what he can do and all this stuff. It's got meaning now. It's got substance. The robe and just the hatred that they have for each other. Swerve's music hits. Prince Nana comes out looking serious. Didn't even dance. He gets in the ring and he talks about the robe represents pride, integrity, represents the people we've lost. And he says that people that wore it honorably. And then he said, you don't represent that with the robe. Ricochet just says, you're not getting it back. And then he does the aha, or what, however that is. It's all over social media now. It's a meme. It's everywhere. Even Samantha Irvin sends out the Samantha the Bomb on X, sends out aha. So, but the one thing that I thought about after this was this. Remember when they did the Alberto Del Rio and they brought in Ricardo Rodriguez as his personal ring announcer? What better way for Ricochet just to be a complete ass to have his own personal ring announcer and make it Samantha Irvin? And again, ultimately, you maybe get her involved elsewhere, but have her come and introduce Ricochet everywhere. Have her be his personal ring announcer. And I was thinking about that, and I was like, man, that would be so good, and it would add to this new personality that we're seeing out of Ricochet. And again, a lot of people are like, oh, Triple H and him, they dropped the ball on. But again, where would this Ricochet fit in? This is more like an NXT. On the main roster, this does not fit in to what WWE does. That's the problem where, again, they hit and they miss on some of them because, yes, Ricochet moveset-wise, 100%, but they're not going to give him the mic time like what AEW does. So in AEW is where he should be and where he's getting used very well, and I'm happy to see the growth and everything that is going on with him. Not saying that he didn't have it before, because when he was on the independents, he was that, but seeing him get it back, because I didn't like the first couple weeks of him doing the promos. Now, since he's gone more heelish, and with the Swerve and the substance of all of this, I'm starting to enjoy the Ricochet Swerve angle. And again, they could go a couple different ways with this angle. I believe there's more meat on this bone. So we'll see how they handle this going forward and how long they let this go and what directions they go with it, because it's far from over. Orange Cassidy returns, and he's wearing the white shirt. He is not in the black shirt anymore. He returns in with his white shirt. He took on Roderick Strong tonight. Again, Roderick Strong, part of the Undisputed Kingdom, or Undisputed Era, however you want to look at it, is Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, and Roderick Strong. Orange Cassidy, part of the conglomeration with Mark Briscoe. I'm not sure about who was the other one. Mark Briscoe, Kyle O'Reilly, and the big guy, Yoshi. Yoshi E, I think is the other one that I'm forgetting. So, there's some history there, and they kind of brought that up in a thing with Roderick Strong in the back. Kyle O'Reilly's like, I'm with Undisputed Kingdom. That was a time Orange Cassidy, my friend. During the match, Orange Cassidy rolls out, hugs Kyle O'Reilly, kind of turns around, looks at Adam Cole, and was like, Oops, turns his face this way, rolls back into the ring. Then Roderick Strong jumps out, hugs Kyle O'Reilly, hugs Adam Cole. Then Orange Cassidy does the dive outside. He gets Roderick back inside, does a hug with Kyle O'Reilly again, and the crowd eating it up. One more hug. And, of course, he does it. And there was a great back-and-forth match. Orange Cassidy ends up getting the win. This is the part where I'm kind of confused on. So this was a fight to see who took on Takeshita next week for the international title. And then the winner of that match will go to Revolution to take on Kenny Omega. I'm not understanding how Kenny Omega's already in. To me, it should be Orange Cassidy versus Kenny Omega next week. The winner getting the title shot at Revolution. But this is going a little bit backwards. Basically, the champion will get the shot at Kenny Omega. So that is what it is. That's how they're doing it. And that's what they'll do. Takeshita and the music hits. They come out. They start beating up on Orange Cassidy. Out comes Kenny Omega to save the day. They start beating up on Kenny Omega, Orange Cassidy, and end up running off Takeshita and Mark Davis. The international title sitting there in the ring. Kenny Omega picks it up and is kind of taunting Takeshita. But what he doesn't realize is that Orange Cassidy's kind of looking at him too, like, it could be me that you end up versing there. And as, the camera shot as they're going off, it's the three of them. I don't know if somehow this leads to a triple threat, but honestly, I don't think it does. I think it ends up being Takeshita versus Kenny Omega at Revolution. They also added tonight, of course, Hangman against MJF. And, of course, Mercedes Moné versus the Momo match as well right now. And, of course, you already have Cope against Moxley. So the Revolution's taking form March 9th. It'll be a Sunday pay-per-view, which will be late. So that means Monday everybody's going to be tired. But that's pretty much your Dynamite recap. And overall, I thought it delivered, man. Coming out of Grand Slam, great job, TK. Great job, AEW. Of course, the in-ring stuff is always, to me, superb. There's some botches here and there, some mess-ups. Of course, it's pro wrestling. It's live art. It happens. Things like that happen all the time. But I thought, overall, the stories, the presentation, the production, everything heading toward the AEW Revolution pay-per-view, looks like everybody's on the same page. Everything seems to be clicking right now in the right direction, too. That is key. That is key. So we'll see where that goes. Don't forget, check me out on X. I am at Stanley Media _11. On Instagram, I'm at Stanley Media Network. Stanley Media House, I'm sorry. And then also Stanley Media House on Threads. And then Stanley Media House Network on Facebook, the page. Go there, like it. Also, I got a broadcast channel on Instagram. Go ahead, hit there. We'll be talking a little bit of this weekend's NASCAR coming up. Inter Miami got a big win here tonight. We will have the Heat starting back up, I think, Friday. So a lot going on in the world of sports. And, of course, we've got the Squared Circle Digest talking pro wrestling, AEW, WWE, throwing a little bit of TNA, a little bit of New Japan, a little bit of everything. We're here to talk for the fans, by the fans, and that's what we do here. And in the words of the great Gordon Soley, so long from the sun, shine, state.